Hello, everyone. This is Robin Carroll, and I'm here today with Brooke Adams from Rocket Science Wellness. Hi, Brooke. How are you today?
Hello, fabulous. Thank you for asking.
I have rain. You have clouds, you said?
Yeah, overcasty kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I had snow, so I'm grateful for the rain today.
I bet.
So, um, you are very, very multifaceted. We're going to talk about a few things. We're going to fit as much in as we possibly can because I know you're on a limited schedule because of your
Yeah.
son at school.
Yeah.
So let's talk about you first to make sure we get that in
Okay.
about who you are, what you do. I know I had you on last year as a guest. Matter of fact, we just had our 1 year anniversary. I remember sharing it I think
Oh
on
yeah.
Facebook with you.
That's pretty
Um,
cool.
and explain what you do because over the last year, we've all grown and we've all
Yeah.
shifted. So what are you doing now?
Mhm.
Explain your business, explain what you do. I would like to say explain how you do it, but none of us know how to explain that.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Yeah. Well, basically at this point in time, I am an empowerment guide, but I'm calling myself an earth human guide at this time because really I've lived my life and lived several trials and tribulations. And what they did is they brought me to realize that everything that I see on the outside of myself, I'm painting a picture from within. And when we're on autopilot, instead of claiming our power from within, we can't really realize like what our life is. So I guess what I'm trying to say is I can help people be human, which sounds, I know it sounds the way it sounds, but we have access to all of these gifts from the moment that we enter this earth, and we don't know about them. We don't know how to tap into them. From an early age, we're taught to shut them down. But really, it's like probably the easiest way to describe what I'm saying would be when we're in victim mode, we can't be empowered because when we're blaming something outside of ourselves, we're not claiming our power. And that's basically probably the simplest way I could kind of talk about what I mean. But I'm a Reiki practitioner, I'm a Reiki master. So I have several students that I've attuned. I guide meditations with a visualization aspect because I have like this whole interior world that I work with my higher self and source energy that can really help anybody with any kind of subconscious programming that they've been struggling with in their life. So it's basically like whatever somebody wants to do, if they have the courage and they want to do it, I can help them do it. I would also say that I used to call myself a healer. I don't anymore. And that's only because everybody is their own healer. We just have maybe a gap between where we are and where we want to be. And that's what a healer does is they help you access your own energy that you have been limited to that access for whatever reason before. So it could be child innocence healing, which people also call inner child healing. It could be subconscious beliefs. It could be trapped emotions. I mean, there's a myriad of different things, but the root of it is really where do you source your power from? Do you source it from inside of yourself or outside of yourself? And that would be the one question that I ask anybody. And then, yeah.
I like the way you worded that because you said that you help people. What was it? You said something about what they want to be.
Yeah, help them. There's when we want something and it's out of our reach and we feel like we're doing everything to get it, and especially when we go into that victim mode, like why is this happening to me instead of why is this happening for me? It's just
Right.
there's a space between where we are and where we want to be, and
Right.
what's usually limiting that is we aren't accessing our full power within for whatever reason.
And a lot of people, their mindset is like, how come I'm not where I need to be?
Yeah, and in
Right.
fact, most
It's
of
like,
us
how
are
do you know?
perfectly.
No one
Yeah,
knows where we need to be. We all need to be exactly where we are.
exactly. I totally agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I like the way that you said that you don't call yourself a healer anymore because we are all our own healers. And there's so many aspects of that like we could go on and I could go on about 5 hours just about that. Because I
Yep.
always talk about the facets, right?
Yeah.
And because we both do astrology, because now you're
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
astrology on top of everything else, because Brooke just went through my astrology course. She did
Oh
really,
yeah,
really
how did I forget to mention that?
and she has a really cool way of reading charts too. Like you're everybody as they learn, they develop their own style, but you kind of developed your own style like early on. And I'm like teaching, like I'm going, and you're like, Yeah, but for me, it's not like that. I don't think
Yeah.
it's self. At first, I thought, well, that answer's wrong. And then I thought, no, she's right. It's not like that for her. I'm looking
Yeah.
at, like, I was looking at your chart and I'm like, yeah, that is how she would see it. That's a perspective or the facet, because
Yeah.
I love to talk about the facets that you would see it from. So
Mhm.
you're kind of really, really, um, like normally I would think if I didn't know better,
Mhm.
I would think that you were an Aquarian because
Yeah.
you're
Feels
very
like it.
outside of the box.
Mhm.
But you're a double Cancer. What's your moon, Virgo?
Gemini in the 12th
Gemini
house.
moon. Okay. So, yeah, so you're a double Cancer Gemini moon, which is really, really interesting because you have that kind and loving and nurturing, that mothering energy, that you're the give everybody a hug kind of person. Um, and you also with Gemini gives you the ability to communicate that. And Gemini is very it's the intellect, right? And it's the way our mind processes. So I love that a few weeks ago you asked if you could do a meditation in our astrology class and everyone agreed that they wanted to participate. So we did. I said it's up to the girls, right? So you did the meditation and it was so beautiful that I actually turned my camera off in case I fell asleep because I didn't want the girls to. I like turned off my camera, I turned off my sound. I'm like, because I've been all stuffed up with allergies. I'm like, if I fall asleep and I start snoring, I don't want the girls to be making fun of me. So
Yeah.
it was funny, but it was so you're so good with meditation.
Thank you, Rob.
Like you don't even prep. You're like we
Mhm.
don't like I don't prep. We
Mhm.
don't, we have a 5 minute bullshit session before we come on, but we don't even talk about anything that we're talking about right now, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's kind of just like, hey, how you doing? It's raining. I have a headache and
Yeah.
let's get on with it. I
Yeah.
didn't, we're in the full moon and it's cloudy and I know I'm not going to see the moon tonight. Sucks, but that's the way it is. Hey ho, that's the way it goes.
Yeah.
And maybe tomorrow to be clearer and brighter anyway.
Yeah.
So, um, I love that you have the ability. You have this special gift of number one, um, you always make people feel comfortable. You make
Mhm.
people feel safe. You have that beautiful energy that you're you're just like I can just picture you in the park that like you're there with your son and like every kid in the neighborhood is like, oh, great. Like you're that kind of person that everybody just wants to hug you or be hugged by you.
Mhm.
And you radiate that love all the time. And your meditations are so creative and outside of the box. That's why I said like I would have sworn that you were an Aquarian if I didn't know your chart.
Mhm.
Um, and you just go with the flow. Like
Yeah.
it just you literally channel your meditations.
Yes, I do. Yes.
And you can tell that you channel them because when you were doing the meditation in class, I actually felt this, and it's been really cold. I mean, you're in Arizona, so you're warm. I'm in the Appalachian Mountains, freezing my behind off. We had a bunch of snow yesterday. Then we got rain overnight, so now I just have slush. Um,
Mhm.
and it's damp and it's kind of not so nice out. But um, the the way you work in that meditation, it's been chilly here. I always have a sweater on. I have a space heater out here because this is my space that I like to work.
Yeah.
I like the energy out here. I like to look out at the woods and I have a stream behind me. But I just felt this like this warmth. It was almost like I drank like a cup of hot chocolate or a cup of, warm tea that, like when you're really cold and you swallow it and you could just feel the warmth move through
Yeah.
your body. And I
Oh,
felt like I was being held and I felt really, really loved. And that's what your meditations do.
thank you, Robin.
And so you have a really special gift there. And I just found out that you have a YouTube meditation channel.
Yes.
So would you like to share that with us? That's
Yeah.
under
Mhm.
Rocket Science Wellness
Yep.
as well on
Yep.
YouTube.
Exactly. Rocket Science Wellness on YouTube. I'm
Right.
on Instagram and Facebook, but yeah, I'm building my YouTube channel. There's a couple card readings because I was doing intuitive card readings for a really long time, and then I was nudged by my higher self more than once to stop really using outside tools and to simply use my intuition. And so that's what I do when I do the meditations. I don't know where we're going until we start. And depending on if it's an individual or a group, depending on all the energies that are there, that will determine what kind of a meditation it is, where we go. And then even when I do astrology, Robin, like that's what I love about astrology. And I'm also teaching myself galactic astrology, is that it's literally like an endless language art form where
It is.
there's it's always changing, and it's that's how I also read astrology charts, is when I have someone, um I have them give me all of their information, but I don't pull it up until the moment that I'm going to read it for them, and then I read it with my knowledge, but then also with my intuition.
That's how I work.
Yeah,
Now I
it's
know
so
that
fun.
I told the
Mhm.
girls in class, to start like to look at a chart ahead of time because they're still learning. But there were certain people in the class, and everyone did really well.
Oh
But
yeah.
there were a
Oh yeah.
couple of you that really stood out that just knew, like you
Yeah.
were one, and Tanya was one
Yes,
that
Tanya.
literally like just
Hmm.
intuit like you had that intuitive ability. All
Hmm.
you needed was the foundation.
Hmm.
Once I gave you the foundation and you just ran with it,
Hmm.
and then some of the other girls needed more. um because they process in a different way.
Yes.
Every sign processes in a different way.
Yeah.
Like I'm that Pisces Capricorn,
Hmm.
so I'm a very structured, organized, emotional wreck.
Well, I don't see it like that, but I
Well,
understand what you
no,
mean.
no,
Yeah.
I'm joking. But like I never have both feet on the ground at the same time. I could be very pie in the sky,
Yeah.
very, but when I'm
Yes.
working, I'm all business and don't bother me. I don't like to
Yep.
be interrupted
Yep.
whatsoever.
Mhm.
Like sometimes I even get a little like the dogs will come in and they'll look at me and I'll be like, you were just out. And then I look at the clock and I'm like, oh my God, it's been 4 hours. They really do need to go out. Like
Yeah, we get lost in our love
we
of
get
our
lost
work.
in our work.
Yeah.
So so for everyone, go on to YouTube. Please like and follow her channel because her meditations are beautiful and they're amazing. I didn't know she had the channel. And
Yeah.
then she's on Rocket
Rocket
Science
science as well.
Wellness
Yeah.
on Instagram. And you're not really on Facebook a whole lot, right?
I'm not on there a lot, but it cross posts from Instagram to Facebook. So here's I don't know if you can see it, my logo.
I
If you
can.
see that
Yeah.
logo, you know,
Yeah, it looks really good. And the really cool thing is, do you mind if I share this about your son?
you can share everything you want.
So I asked her how she came up with that name for
Oh
her
yeah.
business. Her son's middle name is Rocket. She is such a cool mom. His
Thank you,
name is
Rob.
Oliver Rocket,
He's
and
a good.
that's not her last name.
No, no.
So
Middle
I
name.
think it's so cool that Oliver has that name,
Yeah,
and he is Rocket Man. Like
he
literally,
is. He is.
he's his own walking, talking little mini business. That little
Hmm.
boy, he
Yeah,
is very very gifted.
he's very
So
creative. Yeah.
with the so you're doing the while you're teaching people to be human. Like,
Yes.
you know, I'm sure for some people they'll probably go like, huh? But if you really stop and think about it, whether you're spiritual or not, no matter what you believe in,
Mhm.
we all know at least one person that we wish they were a little more human or
Yeah.
compassionate or
Yeah.
kind,
Yeah.
loving
Yeah.
or something. So
Yeah.
I like the way you use that, the way you phrase that.
Thank you.
And I like that you let everybody be who they are and that you love them and you accept them the way they are without judgment.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
your business is really cool, and what you do is really cool. And I can't wait till you're done the galactic astrology. I'm just doing medical astrology, but you're doing the galactic astrology. And so it's a really cool blend of how you're bringing all of your gifts together
Thank you.
and incorporating them.
Yeah.
And you might not even have full clarity on it yet.
No. I don't know if that ever comes, to be honest.
It'll come.
Yeah.
It'll
I
come.
just I just love the journey. I love waking up every day and being like, I just love my life, you know? And I spent a lot of days waking up not feeling like that, and that's why I feel so strongly in that if anybody feels called to work with me in any capacity, I love that. And I want what's best for everybody. So I always teach from
Well,
my heart. And yeah,
and you're kind of like me, like we don't advertise.
no,
It's
no,
word of mouth.
yeah,
It's word of mouth. And when your customer comes to you that that customer was meant for you.
yes, exactly.
Especially I always find that like um and through my referrals, I've only had like one experience with a referral that I'm just going to say was interesting.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but most of I mean, if people like what you do, you get your referrals. You don't
yeah,
need to advertise. Um, and for those people who are out there that are learning, no, don't think that the market is too saturated because it's not. There's a niche for everyone because there must be a million and one astrologers. Everybody reads in their own way.
yeah.
Are the basics the same? Are the foundations the same? Would yes. Even if it's, even though we do tropical Western, I do predictive astrology or prescriptive and predictive. I don't really like to do predictive. Um, but even with Vedic astrology, the basis is still, the foundation is still somewhat the same. The planets, the signs, the houses. The signs are a little bit different. Like in Vedic, my rising is a Sagittarius, where in tropical, my rising is a Capricorn. So it's just off by a little bit.
Yeah.
So now a lot of people, and I follow a Vedic astrologer, and she's very, very accurate. And because I already have that astrology foundation, I'm learning from her just by watching her videos because I
That's
think
cool.
her course is something like $10,000, and
Yeah,
that's not in my budget right now. I'm not
yeah,
saying she's not worth it. I'm just saying it's not in my budget right now. So
yeah. I got you.
once you have that foundation in whatever it is that you do,
Mhm.
and Geminis too, because you're a beautiful communicator and a beautiful writer, naturally you would be good at meditations. People don't really connect all the dots.
Yeah.
How do you think, and then we're going to talk about the full moon,
Oh yeah.
but how do you think that learning astrology has changed your life? Just learning astrology, how has it changed your life so far? Like, what have you learned, or what do you see different that you didn't see or know about yourself before? Now, you're very awake, you're very aware.
Mhm.
So when I ask you this question, I expect some really
Yeah,
different kind of answer than somebody
yeah,
else would give.
yeah.
But I'm interested in what your takeaway from the course was.
Well, I have to say this. I have to say that 8 years old was like such a pivotal time for me. It was pretty much kind of when I shriveled back up into my shell because prior to that, I was very expressive. I had all these beliefs that I talked about freely, the way that I understood the world, and they just weren't met with any kind of acceptance. So I just stopped talking about them and I just kind of became, you know, more in my shell and I didn't share myself with anybody. But it was right around 8 years old where I started really becoming interested in astrology. And I even have a book somewhere around here from when in high school I was trying to read people's charts. And there was always just this huge gap between again where I wanted to be and where I was because for me back then in the 80s or whatever or I guess it was 90s if I was in high school but I couldn't understand the math and we didn't have the computer programs that we have now but once I started learning about astrology it honestly this is going to sound the way it sounds but I feel like it gave me permission to be myself because I was like there's a reason why I've always felt like this person because this is who I am not and I don't mean permission and like whatever but just like inside it unlocked something inside of me that it was like well what am I doing if I'm not sharing all of this stuff
Radical,
that I have inside of me
the radical self-acceptance,
yeah
right?
yeah
Because I noticed that, and I'm like, I remember when I was learning, and I'm like, and then I had that time thing where my birth time was 20 minutes off. My mom gave me the wrong birth
yes
time, and then I had to pull out my birth certificate for my driver's license, and all the times I had pulled it out, I
You never noticed it. That's
never
interesting.
really noticed it. And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, it's off by 20 minutes. Like
Yeah.
it's off by 30 minutes. So
Okay.
that shifted my whole chart 5 degrees.
Yeah.
It moved some of my planets into different houses. And then I'm looking at it and I'm like, that doesn't resonate with me. But then once I accepted it
Mhm.
and I started thinking about it and I thought about, because I went from a Sag rising, which anybody, but even that's on the cusp, it's like a 3 degree orb. So I'm still within orb so of that energy, because anybody that knows me knows I have this kind of really warped sense of humor, which I do have a Sagittarius sense of humor, but also Jupiter rules Sagittarius and it's the
Yeah.
ancient Pisces. So I'm like, oh, well, now I can rationalize like that's where that comes from. And all that time I thought it came from my Sag, it's
Yeah.
actually coming from my Pisces,
That's
right?
so,
And
yeah.
then when I think about my Capricorn and I think about now,
Mhm.
like it didn't resonate with me because I was looking at it from the perspective of, being in my late 50s and 60s, early 60s, right?
Mhm.
But when I look back at my earlier years when I was in corporate America, oh
Mm.
my God, I was so Capricorn.
Yep.
I was so laser
Interesting.
focused. I was responsible. I always
Yeah.
had a backup plan in case somebody didn't show up. I made sure that no matter what assignment I gave someone, because I was like in a project manager. So I had a lot
Mhm.
of people underneath of me. And I would give them, their assignments for the day or whatever. And I would still find myself like checking. It's like I'm mothering them, right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I was just like, I'd find myself checking on, well, did you do this? Did you do that? And they're like, we got it. Calm down. We got it.
Yep.
I was like this the spreadsheet almost because Capricorn has a lot of similar traits to Virgo with
Okay.
like,
Yep.
okay. So
Hmm.
like with the
I feel that.
organization and
Yes.
some perfectionism and a lot
Yes.
of vision. I had a clipboard and a chart for everything. Like literally, you could ask anybody that used to work for me behind my desk on the wall. I had them put in this strip of wood for me with hooks.
That's
I
awesome.
literally had a clipboard with the
Yeah.
schedule.
Yeah.
There was like 5 or 6 of them for every section that needed to be handled of what my job was and the assignments for it was crazy. I was so organized.
I
Now
love that.
now I
But
told you before we came on, I actually
yeah.
moved my
Yeah.
my desk and my computer
Genius.
because
Yeah.
I've been working nonstop because my Uranus is like my chart's lit up and my office it's just there's piles of books and papers
Yeah.
and just
Yeah.
everywhere.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to go into the office in the house because I just feel claustrophobic in there. I like to be out here. So the life has changed.
Yeah.
So, like as you mature, like the same things don't bother you. So that's
Yeah.
what I was interested. So I like that it made you feel like you understand. It's the radical self-acceptance of
Mhm.
understanding
Mhm.
why you are the
Mhm.
way you are,
Mhm.
but have you also seen in your chart what it's giving you permission? And I use that word loosely, what the universe is gifting you. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, I think so because for a while, and I have been yawning, and that's not anything rude for me. That's my throat chakra expanding. But so that's a very perfect segue actually because yeah, I had my throat chakra was pretty much closed up. I worked as a pharmacist for about 12 years, and my throat chakra was pretty much completely closed up. And through astrology and looking at my chart and looking at my placements and looking at so my second house is my Mercury in Leo and my Jupiter in Leo. So I'm sorry. Yes, that's right. So
Oh, you
yeah.
put up with the full moon then.
Yeah.
What do you
But
have there?
it's like
Mercury and what else? Mercury and
Mercury and I'm sorry, Gemini. No, my brain does this when I'm like on one flow. It like can't access other things. Give me just a second. It's coming.
It's all right if
Um,
you remember.
so I very much value communication, right? Because my Mercury is in Leo and also my Jupiter is in Leo. So that's how I expand is through my communication. And then,
Oh, you
my
love
Virgo and my
that.
North Node are in my third house of communication. So,
So you have that ability to Leo, speak your
mhm,
truth.
mhm.
Leo
And
rules
I wasn't since like 8 years old until probably 44, I want to say 43, maybe. I don't know. Sometime maybe earlier than that, but really it didn't start coming out until I started going on Instagram and then doing my meditations because,
I remember telling you, get your ass out there.
yeah, I was afraid. I was afraid to be seen. I was afraid to be heard. For what?
For a lot of people too, they're afraid to be judged or people will think I'm
Yes.
crazy.
Yes. I'm okay with being crazy, but what I learned about judgment is,
I'm okay with being crazy too.
yeah, what I've learned personally about judgment is if I'm afraid that someone's judging me, it's because not only am I judging myself, but I'm judging other people. So once you just take judgment out of the equation, and it's not that easy. I realize this, but I that's my intention every day is I judge nothing that exists. I don't judge myself and I don't judge anyone outside of me because everybody has their unique purpose. And who am I to say, oh, I know better than you? Because I don't. But it also is the same thing I feel about competition. There literally is no such thing as competition. It's all collaboration. If you see someone doing something that you do, you're needed because you're doing it in a different way because we all have our unique gift that only we can bring in our own way to this planet. And that's actually what I believe our purpose is. So that's like the agreement that we made when we came to planet Earth, because a lot of people will say a lot of things, but let me tell you right now, from my perspective, being on planet Earth is a gift and we asked to be here. So we have a duty to live up to what we agreed to, and that is to be exactly who we are, completely authentic, but from a heart space. So it doesn't mean you go around just being mean, speaking your truth. It means once you've got all of your energy locked and loaded, and you are secure in yourself to where you're not judging people outside of you and you're not judging yourself, then you're like, look, the world is perfect. Everybody's perfect. Everybody's where they're meant to be because I'm living in my truth and I'm living in my integrity. That's what it really is for me.
And for everybody watching,
Yeah.
that is Mercury and Jupiter in Leo. Leo is can be somewhat dramatic,
Yes.
not mama drama. Well, it can be
Yeah, yeah,
mama
yeah.
drama. And on its shadow side, it can be kind of like mama drama
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah,
or daddy drama. I
yeah.
always say mama drama because most of my clients are girls, women.
Yeah.
But Leo likes to shine.
Yeah.
It's ruled by the sun.
Yeah.
It also rules the heart. It
Yes.
speaks its truth. And you have Mercury there
Mhm.
with Jupiter. There's no
Mhm.
shutting you up. You're going to speak your truth if it kills you.
Yeah.
If it kills you,
Yeah.
and but the beautiful thing about that as well is Leo can be very no nonsense. If
Mhm.
you screw a Leo over, you don't usually get a second chance to screw them over twice,
Yeah.
but they'll forgive you,
Yeah.
but they will not judge you,
Mhm.
but they will also not let you back into their life.
Yeah,
Nine
you
out
won't
of
see the
5.
full me anymore. The full me won't be
Yeah,
vulnerable to you anymore. Right.
exactly. And I kind of like that, but a lot of
Yeah.
people struggle with that energy. Like I'm
Yeah.
sure a lot of people this moon it could be difficult for a lot of people.
Mhm.
Um, for me personally, I don't know. It's in my eighth house, so I'm cool with it. Light me up. Send me some money.
Yeah, I like that. That's
Well,
good.
eighth house, death, rebirth, taxes,
Other people's money.
inheritance. I don't want it through death though, unless
Yeah.
death of my old self and the
Yeah.
recreation of my new self.
Or some long lost
Oh,
relative you didn't know you
open
had.
to that. I'm open to that.
Yeah.
Um, but I think it's really cool the way you use the astrology in your own unique way. That's why I was really wondering because um, I think everybody gets something different out of astrology.
Yes.
For me, it helped me heal.
Okay.
It helped me heal, and it did same as you. It kind of gave me that permission to
Yeah.
be what I'm going to call unique.
Yeah.
Okay, because I was shut down, and we've all talked about this so many times before, but like about past, like our childhoods and the way we were raised. And our parents didn't know any better. They just
Right.
did what their parents did,
Mhm.
and the programming and,
Yes.
all that kind of stuff. So, and we could see those past wounds in our charts. So now that we can see them, and I always say, wherever, when you look at your chart and you watch the transits, wherever you feel uncomfortable, wherever you feel discomfort is where you still need to heal. That's the area you need to work on. And that's what I love about astrology. So I'm glad that it helped you in that way.
I do feel like astrology is a perpetual teacher. I think it was because I listen to Molly McCord's podcast a lot, and I think it was Molly that said astrology is an energetic language. And so that makes complete sense to me.
It
And it's
is.
been around for as long as longer than a lot of things. I'll just say that.
And in what the first section,
Mhm.
I basically say that. And in my book, I say that um, it's the language of the learn to speak the language of the universe through
Yes,
astrology or
I love
something like
that.
that. I can't remember the exact wording of it.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
And but it is a universal language
Mhm.
because it doesn't matter whether you speak English or French or Italian.
Mhm.
Stars are the stars, the planets are the
Yes,
planets.
and they all have their
But we
own.
all live under the
Yeah,
same planets and stars, and we all, you know, fit somewhere in that one little sparkle in the universe,
yeah,
each and every one of us,
yeah.
somewhere.
Yes.
And I love that astrology shows us how we're all connected.
Mhm.
And there are people that will never believe.
Yes, it's true. That's okay.
And you don't have to believe, it's okay. And
Yeah.
because what I have found is that a lot of the people that will tell me, oh, I don't believe in astrology. And I'll take a look at their chart and I'm like, really? Because you're living the astrology.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Because and they do it so well, they navigate it so well. They're so tuned in, but
Yeah.
they're born that way. Like a lot of
Yeah.
Aquarians are like that, right?
I
They're
can see
born
that.
that way. So they're so tuned in and turned on all the time
Mhm.
that they don't even know it. The only time they feel it is if something upsets them or shuts them down in some way where they turn off, right? Like turning it off the radio in the car off and on.
Mhm.
And then
Mhm.
they feel it. They'll feel like that kind of a shift. So
Mhm.
that was interesting. I find that interesting. So, how's this moon going for you?
Um, I feel like it's pretty great. I mean, I had sometimes I do want to say that, excuse me, sometimes I can feel the energy before it happens. So there was a little bit of stuff that was clearing out, like on this last weekend. But I mean, today feels lovely. Last night I was very energized. I did not want to go to sleep. And in fact, I woke up at 10 o'clock on the dot and I came in here and I was eating chocolate. And my husband came in and was like, "What are you doing? Is everything okay?" And I was like, "I'm just eating my chocolate." So, I just took a little detour from sleeping, but I don't know. I just give myself permission to be myself. And I feel like that is what's really changed my life.
Laugh because like I do stuff like that. Like I'll
Yeah.
wake up like at 2 o'clock in the morning and I'll be like, I need a piece of chocolate. I always
Yeah.
keep a bag I usually buy like this big bag of Hershey Kisses, but like
Nice.
I put a handful in the desk. I have them all over the place.
Yeah.
And sometimes I surprise myself when I think I don't have any chocolate and I find chocolate like in a coat pocket or
Yes.
something, right?
Yes. I
So
love that.
just don't leave it in your car in the summer. I did that last,
No, no.
but we have to have our chocolate. It's like it's our fix.
I
It's,
do love it. You're
it's
the
our
one who told me about carob too, right? Was it
yeah,
you that
yeah,
because I just
Carol.
got that and it's
It's
pretty
really
good. It's
it's
interesting.
good and it's healthy for you. Yeah.
Yes.
It's
It's
actually
really good for I feel like this is important to talk about, especially everything that we've been talking about. So there I love doing facial mapping and there's a gal on Instagram that I follow and yesterday she was talking about up here is like, your intestines and I think your colon
Mhm.
and every person who's famous, which when you look at a famous person as they're expansive, this is what I mean. So, like, I also am someone who says I don't accept limitations because I only accept expansion. So, when you think of famous people or people who are very expansive because they can hold all of these energies, um, they can't keep stuff. They have to let stuff go. So that goes along with the non-judgment and everything like that. But the only reason I'm speaking about this is because that has been something I've been working with a little bit the last few months, is with that letting go type energy. And what do you know? I ordered carob to use instead of coffee, like mixing carob and chicory. But then I just started eating some of the chips last night, and I was doing some research on it, and it's very, very good for your intestines,
Yeah.
whole business. So it's like, really, when you give yourself permission to thrive from your inside out, things just fall into your awareness that are meant for you.
Well,
And
I'm a
it's
holistic nutritionist too.
yeah, okay. Oh, I don't think I ever knew that. Very cool. Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm really, well, it's so weird how both of our journeys have really just like 30 years ago, I would never thought I would be sitting here having a conversation like this. And when you were in pharmacy school, you probably never thought you'd be having this conversation either, because we come from such
Yeah.
diversified backgrounds as to where we
Yeah.
are now. But when
Hmm.
I got really sick and no, like University of Pennsylvania Hospital, like one of the best hospitals in the country, they couldn't diagnose me. Nobody
What?
could figure out what was wrong with me.
Oh,
And
wow.
you being a pharmacist, you're
Yeah.
dispensing medicine and you're watching people get sicker.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
And
Yeah.
we have to be mindful what we say. That let's just give a disclaimer that this is our personal opinion,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, please,
Take if it resonates.
take what resonates, whatever doesn't resonate, let go. I forgot to give
Yeah.
my disclaimer.
Yeah.
I turned to holistic health because I didn't know where else to go. I literally could feel myself dying.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
knew I was dying. And I knew that everybody thought I was crazy and nobody believed me, but I knew I was leaving my body. And,
Yeah.
you know, okay, so I'm a psychic intuitive and, I'm a Pisces, so I'm never really fully in my body anyway,
Yeah.
to the point that, like, my father was standing at the foot of my bed. And my
Mm.
father had this special name for me that only my father called me. Nobody else called me this nickname. He called me Robbie and he called me Kid.
Cute.
And I remember laying in bed and I heard his voice. And when I opened my eyes, he was standing at the foot of my bed
Oh, wow.
and he said, "Hey, kid, it's not your time yet."
That's really cool.
And I remember rolling over and going to sleep and I could smell my grandmother's perfume.
Oh, I love that.
And then I could feel her hand rubbing my back. And when I was a
Oh,
little girl, she
yeah.
used to always rub my, I used to get like a lot of tonsillitis and like I've always had sinus issues and I had a
Yeah.
sinus surgery, which opened my sinuses up and made it worse because now I
Wow.
breathe in more pollution and crap. But
Yeah.
she would always like rub like Vicks on my back and my chest and
Mhm.
stuff because, well, back then we all thought Vicks was good, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I could smell her perfume.
Yep.
And the next, I'd spent a couple of days in bed. And at that point, I was walking, but I was not walking well. I was walking like very unsteady with a cane. I couldn't shop. I had problems with steps. Like I literally, like they had tested me for all kinds of Parkinson's and things like this. And then there was this like rare form of Parkinson's that I never even heard of before. They tested me for that. That test was $15,000. Back then
Wow.
I had good insurance, not like now, thank God.
Yeah.
Um, and they just couldn't figure it out. But in the end, what it was a combination of three or four autoimmune diseases.
Oh, wow.
One, the lupus triggered the other ones. So it was like
Okay.
lupus, Sjogren's, and then I had RA, then I had a stomach emptying disorder. Like it was just like the boomerang, like
Yeah.
the domino effect, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
all the medicine I was on. So I turned to holistic health
Hmm.
because I knew I was going to die. And
Yeah.
I went to see this woman, and back then insurance didn't cover, like back then insurance didn't even cover acupuncture. Like now, at least acupuncture is recognized.
Oh,
Which
that's cool.
one thing I wish I had learned if I was younger, I would go to school and learn acupuncture because
Yeah.
I know how much it helped me. But
Mhm.
now I'm just to a point where I don't think I could stand all day and because I have a
Sure.
bad back, and do it. But holistic medicine saved my life. I
Good.
went and I
Yeah.
saw this wonderful doctor and I had to pay cash out of my pocket. I maxed out 3 credit cards. And it
Me
took
too.
me a
Yeah.
long time to pay off that debt. Um, but
But you're here.
she worked with me and I'm here. And it was through changes in vitamins and nutrition and learning tinctures and then started teaching. And I started asking a lot of questions and then she started teaching me stuff and then she recommended a teacher for me. And I'm like, well,
Oh,
no, do you think I can do it? She goes, you can do this. She goes, you are the best person to do this. She said, because you've lived it.
mhm. Yes.
So everything, everything that I do, every interview, everything, like anything holistic is always, you know, it's holistic health and wellness connection.
Yeah.
So whatever makes you feel connected to yourself, to the universe, to the world, to each other,
Mhm.
whatever makes you feel good, mind, body, and spirit
Mhm.
is what I do.
Yeah.
And I'm so and you're the same way. I loved you from the minute I met you, but you know that.
I remember.
Like like you're
It's a
like
long, seems like a long time ago now.
younger than my kid. You're younger than my kid, aren't you? I think so.
45. So I
Oh
don't know.
no, okay. So you're 4 years older than
Mm.
yeah, my son will be 42. So
Oh, okay.
he'll be 42 in July. So you're only a couple years older. Yeah, I'm not quite old. Oh yeah. I could have had you at 17, but
Yay.
but I I just, I love you like one of my kids. And I just think you're really special. And I think that you have special gifts to share with the world. And I love that you're you do it in your own unique way. And it is always from a heart-centered space. And that's what makes what you do so special.
Thank you.
'Cause there are people that they talk about heart-centered space, but
Mhm.
when you sit and you watch them and you don't feel that in your energy for people that can read energy,
Yeah.
feel
Yeah.
energy. And people think they can't read energy, but if you walk into a room and you feel uncomfortable, you're reading energy because there's
Yeah.
something in there that doesn't resonate with you.
Right.
So,
And that's what I think is interesting too, how you mentioned earlier about the people that say they don't believe in astrology. Well, I mean, it's the same thing, right? It's like if you walk into a room and you sense the energy, well, once you have, kind of the knowledge of astrology under your belt or however you want to say it, you walk in that room and you're like, okay, that's a Scorpio rising over there, and this
oh
person
yeah.
definitely has some strong Pisces in their chart. You know what I mean? Like you can feel the energy, and it's an energetic language, so it's a way to describe something. It's like you could look at a tree and say, I don't believe in a tree, but then you would say, but I do see like this long, like hard surface with like these green, softer, you know what I mean? So it's like saying you don't believe in that. That's fine. It's fine, but
It
I don't
is,
know what I'm trying to say.
I don't
But I think you get it.
I don't try to change somebody's mind.
No, me neither. No, because free will is a huge thing. And that's the other part is a lot of people potentially may never unlock really what being a human is, like their full capacity of being a human because they won't give themselves permission because they're always putting, oh, it's this person's fault, or if this wouldn't have happened, or poor me, or you know what I mean? It's like you have
But
to give yourself permission.
you can see that in their chart too. When you
Yeah.
look at you can look at their
Mhm.
chart.
Okay.
What karma are they carrying with them? Look at their 12th
Yeah.
house. What's in their 12th house?
Yes. Okay. Yep.
Look at their 8th house. What are their fears?
Yes.
Have they
Mm.
brought that with them from a past life? Are they here in this life to release that, to learn the process of release and acceptance?
Mhm.
So
Well, and
we
I think
see that in their charts.
yes,
So, and you know what? A lot of my repeat clients, you know who they are? People
people
that
who
don't
didn't.
believe in astrology.
Yeah, I think it's also that subconscious programming or something like this where you have to make a choice between different kind of belief systems, and you really don't because you get to choose. It's
You
it's
don't.
it's your world. You're creating your world, whether people realize it or not, because you're either on autopilot and you're letting your triggers create your world for you, or you're actually carefully cultivating your outside world for yourself by the things that you pay attention to. And of course, karma can come into play too, but usually once a person's fully in alignment and fully self-aware as much as possible, because it's a perpetual journey, it's never done, but that person, you can feel when you're in alignment. And I had mentioned to you, Robin, last night that I had started crying because I was so grateful and so happy. A couple things happened that day. So basically, I'm in an abundance meditation group. And for the specific day that was yesterday, it said at the end of the day, write down 3 things that came to you from the universe in the form of abundance. And it could be anything. And I knew 2 for sure. And then I was thinking about the third one, and there was something that kind of matched, but I had this intuitive hit that was like, no, the last one hasn't happened yet. And that's what happened. I went to Instagram, I checked the message, and I got a message from a person, and it was so like I could just feel their energy. It was like an electrical energy current between me and this other person. And I just started full body crying because I was so happy, because I can feel myself in alignment and it feels so good. And that's why it's so interesting. It's like, why do we hold ourselves away from ourselves? It's because of something in our mind that's telling us we're going to be judged, or we're not good enough, or who knows. But it's like, once you just embrace who you really are and start feeding yourself the things that you need and the things that you want, again, from a heart space, but it's like the whole world is different. And I use this analogy too. Once you start living like that, the stuff that's disgusting, you don't even see it anymore. And it sounds wild, but you can be living in a different world than the person next to you. Like I used to work at a place, and I walked around the whole place, the whole campus. That was my job, was walking around the whole campus all day. There was a huge amount of protesters, like Jodie Foster was there, and it was just a bunch of negative energy going around because of the 2 merging energies were not like they were colliding. I didn't even see one single person. It did not even come
Yeah.
into my
Well,
vibration.
the the problem is a lot of people are living in fear, and the political climate isn't helping, and people are getting sucked down the rabbit hole when
Yes.
all this is just temporary to begin with. This is
Well,
just
and
something
fear,
that, fear
I
is not a place to live from.
don't know if you can see this. And it's like, whether or
Ah,
not you like
um,
Abraham Hicks or not,
I like
look at the
that.
word
I love
fear.
Abraham Hicks.
Fear
Fear,
is at the bottom.
depression,
So
yeah.
fear is the
Low
great
vibration.
bamboozler. What's that?
It's a low frequency vibration.
Well, and think about, I like to describe this, why fear is the great bamboozler. So if you have ever been scuba diving, how easy is it to go back up to the top without weights? It's pretty easy. But if you think of fear as like the heaviest weight, you're down at the bottom. You can't get up off the bottom until you start taking off some of the weights. And the weights are going to be like, you got to go from fear to maybe anger, and then maybe anger to disappointment. And then
I love that. Where'd you get that from? I know it's
I
Abraham.
actually saw Abraham Hicks last January. She was in Phoenix, or Esther Hicks was in Phoenix. But this was, I remember the day I got fired from my last pharmacy job, because this is what I used to do. I knew I didn't want to be somewhere, but I would manifest someone else breaking up with me because I didn't want to disappoint anyone or reject anyone or let anyone down. So I got fired from my pharmacist job. And I remember I had to take a bath, burn Palo Santo. I would take 2 different crystals and put them in my pockets in the morning. And this particular morning, I was driving to work, and I think I had a jasper in one pocket and a labradorite in the other pocket. And my pelvis, my solar plexus region, was literally vibrating. I'm burning Palo Santo in my car, listening to Abraham Hicks. And I walk in, and my boss is like, "Oh, don't go in there. Come in my office." And I was like, yes, because I knew I was getting fired. And what did I do then? I went next door and bought a crystal. And that was March 13th, 2020, right before the whole world exploded. And, our friend
I remember
Kofifi
that.
happened.
The
So,
shutdown was on my birthday. I had big plans for my birthday that day. I had to cancel them. They shut
oh,
everything down.
yeah, March 21st, right? Oh,
Yeah,
it's coming up. Ooh.
yeah.
But
Well,
yeah,
that was the day I was living in New Jersey then, and that was the day that the governor had shut down New Jersey.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, every year I get something happens on my birthday, something.
Interesting.
And
Wild times.
this year, the end of March, we're going to have that. I believe it's 7 planets in alignment.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's going to be
Cool.
really,
Yeah.
yeah.
Gonna be saucy and
Yeah,
festive.
it is. It's going to be. So we have the sun, moon, and Ceres,
Hmm.
or no, the sun, Mercury, and Ceres opposing the moon, um,
Interesting.
and
Okay.
square Uranus.
Oh.
So that's a very, very interesting energy. I should have printed the chart because I can't look at the chart while I'm
Well, we're on Zoom. Yeah.
Zoom. Um, I don't have it pulled up, so I can't even share screen. But it's really, really interesting energy.
Hmm.
So I just made some quick notes. So let's give everybody how much time do you have left?
I'm good.
Okay.
Whatever you need.
So it was this morning.
The full moon. Yes. 5:35,
I'm
I think.
Eastern
7.
time and you're in Pacific.
I'm Arizona, so we're MST right now, so we're 1 hour ahead
You're
of
mountain time.
Pacific.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for me, it was at 2:53 a.m. So for you, it was at 4:50
5:53. Oh,
or
oh,
to
maybe
two
you're
hours.
3 hours ahead.
It was
Huh.
4:53 for you. Would be 5:53 for like California.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just gonna just read some of the notes I took. So Leo illuminates, okay,
Yeah.
because it is the sun. It is the way you shine. It's your identity. It
Mhm.
rules the heart. Um,
I love that.
their lights are very brilliant and they're very genuine and authentic, and they have to
Mhm.
speak their truth and they can sniff out a liar a mile away. Never lie
That's
to a
true.
Leo.
Yeah.
That, that's the advice I give. Never lie to a Leo. So this full moon, I feel like a lot of breakthroughs. Like this
Yeah.
is difficult energy for a lot of people because this is kind of like from when we had Pluto leave Capricorn and move into Aquarius, okay, I describe it like as a comet. And when we look at a comet has a tail. So everybody's like, oh, Pluto's out of Capricorn. We're all in the clear. Well,
Um,
we're not,
yeah.
because the residual energy it's still, if you think of the tail of the comet, which Pluto is not a comet.
Mhm.
Matter of fact, they're debating on whether or not it's even a planet at
I
this.
know. Yeah.
It's
Wild.
crazy. But that residual energy is still playing out in Capricorn and it's still doing its deconstructing. Okay. And it
Yep.
deconstructs to reconstruct. When we think about Capricorn, we think structure, foundation, Saturn, the great teacher. It's where we learn, um, we experience challenges, some of
Mhm.
our hardest lessons.
Yeah.
Um,
Saturn
what
return.
what do we learn? So what are we deconstructing? What old programming are we letting go of? And who are we letting go of? The people that are no longer healthy for us. Maybe
Yes.
it's someone who was a narcissist. Maybe it was someone who was constantly, you know, um, just like nitpicking or,
Invading boundaries. Mhm.
exactly,
Yep.
and then, we had um, Pluto moving into Aquarius, which was a whole new energy because Pluto's thinks outside of the box. It doesn't process the same way. They're highly intelligent, actually super intelligent, I want to say. And they um, have their own way of communicating. So now we have Pluto, which is death, rebirth, transformation. It's philosophically deep. It could be dark. It can be the dark night of the soul.
Mhm.
In this sign that thinks outside of the box. So you think of new inventions, right? New
Yeah.
technology. I can't
Yeah.
keep up with the technology. I learn one thing and something else updates.
Yep.
I'm just trying to keep up with my updates. Okay. So there's all this new stuff coming out, right? From
Mhm.
nowhere. And where is time? What is time? Where is time gone? It's
Exactly.
so every time I turn around, it's Friday, and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe it's Friday. I got nothing done this week. And yet I feel like I'm working and working and working.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this Leo moon, there's a lot going like in play with it.
Mhm.
When you talk about Mercury being square Uranus, Mercury is our communication, right? It's the way we speak, the way we think, it's the mind.
Right.
Uranus is the higher mind, which rules what? Aquarius.
Hmm.
So now we have the higher mind, and I don't like to say the lower mind, but the mind and the higher mind, the
Yeah.
higher consciousness. Think of being in both realms, as
Hmm.
above, so below,
Hmm.
in a square. So
Wow.
now our
Interesting.
higher self
Hmm.
is having a little clash with our everyday self. What is the
That's
truth and what
interesting.
is not the truth? Mercury is the trickster. It can be,
Okay.
and Mercury is the only planet that can travel both realms, above and below. Because Mercury's neutral. All Mercury does is carry messages.
Mhm.
So if you think of Mercury as the little gossiper, right? Do you remember some Bewitched? Did you ever watch Bewitched as a kid?
A little bit, yeah. Oh, the lady next door. Is it
Mrs.
Gladys Kramer?
Kravitz. Mrs.
Yes.
Kravitz. I
Funny.
call
Yes.
Mercury Mrs. can be like Mrs. Kravitz. Okay. So
Oh,
Mercury just travels all around through the universe, as above, so below, the higher realms and the lower realms, making the rounds, and it picks up all this information and it just carries and delivers the messages.
I love it.
But it doesn't
Yeah.
have the ability to discern what is truth and what isn't. That's left up to us poor
Mm.
humans.
Okay.
So when you have Mercury and Uranus squaring each other, it's kind of
Hmm.
like truth's coming to light.
So cool. So
Leo,
cool.
the sun, shining light, Mercury, communication, Uranus, the higher mind. What truths are coming to light? Because Leo only speaks the truth.
Yes. And I
Okay.
feel a lot of people will find that they've been lying to themselves for a very long time.
Exactly, which is why people are feeling that push-pull energy. I was just going to say, if so you're feeling uncomfortable within
Yeah.
yourself,
Yeah.
you might be, say, like maybe Mercury rules your house because Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. Okay.
Mhm.
So if Mercury rules your sign, um, you could be feeling some inner conflict depending on where you are in your journey. So
Mhm.
now you're at this point where you need to make a choice, but you don't know whether to go left or right because you don't know what the truth is.
Right.
So now you're trying to use the higher mind to use your discernment so
Hmm.
that you know how to move forward with
Hmm.
clarity.
Hmm.
But then you throw in a little bit of Neptune and stir the pot,
Oh, yay.
and it looks like this. It's
Yeah, you don't know where you're going. You can't see.
it's a little bit
Yeah.
foggy. So
Yeah.
now what are we being called to do? To trust in to look at our North Node in Pisces, which is what is the North Node in Pisces. We need to learn to trust in the unseen and the unknown with unbelievable, unshakable faith
Yeah.
moving forward.
So cool.
And with the South Node in Virgo,
Hmm.
we need to let go of our perfectionism. So if you
Yes.
want to start a new business, you don't have
Hmm.
to wait for everything to be perfect. Your first
Yeah.
video doesn't have to be perfect. This video
Right.
isn't perfect. None of my videos
No.
are perfect. I don't go
Right.
back and I don't edit them. If somebody
Right.
wants to judge me, judge me.
Yeah.
That's that's your issue. It's not my issue. I'm
Exactly.
cool with what I do. I'm
Right.
cool that sometimes I got a concussion last year and sometimes I talk backwards. I'm cool that sometimes what is in my brain doesn't come out of my mouth the way my brain processes it, but my brain knows what's going on. And if
Yeah.
I say something backwards or whatever, and somebody will look at me funny or something, and I'll go, "Did I say that backwards?" And they'll go, "Yeah." And then I go, "Oh, well, wait a minute. Let me explain how it really is."
Yeah.
That's who I am.
Right.
I'm not, I don't have dementia. I had
Yeah.
a serious brain injury.
Right.
So that's just who I am. So we
Right.
have all of these things in play. And then where's Venus? Where's Venus in
Mm.
all this? She's getting ready to stir up some trouble, isn't she? Well,
Oh
let's
God.
see. We have in two, today is what, the 12th? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So we have the full moon, and we have Mercury will be moving into Pisces in
Okay.
14th, so on Valentine's Day. So we're
Oh,
of the planet of communication and with the
mhm.
planet of our um emotionally very watery emotional Pisces. So emotions could be heightened. Hopefully everyone will be spreading love and kindness and they will be
Aw.
happy tears and not Mercury
Yeah.
or Uranus square the sun tears.
Yes.
Um, and then Mars goes direct on the 24th. And then
Okay.
our next moon, which will be a new moon, will be in Pisces on February 27th.
Yes.
Then Mercury will station retrograde. It will start, it'll station and start turning to move retrograde on February 28th, which
Okay.
it seems like we just got out of Mercury retrograde because that last one was
Oh,
so long. It was like the
yes.
whole, what, from the end of November to like the beginning of second week of January, I think.
Yeah.
Because
A long time.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was a really long Mercury retrograde. So I feel like we just got out of Mercury retrograde. But I like Mercury retrograde. It's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, same. I feel like we've talked about this before, because
Yeah.
we both have it retrograde in our chart. So I feel like when
I
Mercury,
don't. It's
oh, you
Tanya.
don't?
It's you
Oh,
and
okay.
Tanya. Tanya does. She has it in her chart, a Mercury
Yeah.
retrograde.
I feel like I more often than not have some kind of a electronic brain battle with like technology, but when it's Mercury retrograde, I feel like it doesn't really impact me. So it's kind of funny.
Well, think about Uranus. Uranus is
Yeah.
like the electricity. It's the
Yeah.
body electrical system. So when you
Yes.
say you feel electricity move through your body,
Yes.
your Uranus is aspecting. So it's being aspected by something
Okay.
transiting or
That makes
some kind of an
sense.
aspect.
Hmm.
Um, so it's interesting that you said that. And then, we have the Mercury Uranus thing, the
Hmm.
communication, and then the shock and the surprise, right?
Hmm.
What is the
Yeah.
shock and surprise? And everybody always thinks it has to be a bad thing. It
Yeah,
doesn't.
no, it doesn't.
Doesn't.
But I think that's another thing,
Win the
just like
lottery.
fear,
Somebody win the
Yeah.
lottery and share it with us, right?
Yeah, but then again, too, I'm a person that I like surprises. I like one of my friends a long time ago when I was still learning to trust myself told me this. She was like, when you surrender to the universe, it's the same thing as like someone surprising you with a gift. Like, do you like surprises? And I absolutely 100% love surprises. So, you know what I mean? And if you don't have anything to hide, then bring it on, bring all the surprise and shock and,
I like I like surprises.
yeah.
I just don't want to have a heart attack because now I'm getting
No. I know what
now
you
I'm
mean.
getting
Yeah.
now I'm starting to get older. But so
I
that's
don't feel that for you.
that's kind of what's going on with the astrology. But I
Well, that's
wanted to say to people too to remember, and I'm not going to try to change anybody's mind, but I'm going to say this
right.
that what we call astrology now
Hmm.
was what the three wise men used to find the baby Jesus. It was you know, astronomy was astrology back in the day.
Yes.
If, you know, we could cross the ocean and discover this new world by navigating the stars, and the moon can affect the tides of the ocean. Why can't it
Hmm.
affect our emotions since our body is over 90% water?
Hmm.
Okay. So there's
Hmm.
ebb and flow everywhere.
Yes.
Everything truly is connected, and you don't have to believe. You could just be surprised all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the beautiful thing about it. So let's see. There is one more aspect too that's important that I want to share before we go.
Yeah.
There's a T square.
Ooh.
Full moon there's a T square to Uranus. So that Uranus energy is really, really being highlighted. So we really want to be mindful of that. And then also being mindful that we still have Mars retrograde.
Hmm.
Um, in
Yeah. That's been hard for a lot of people.
Yeah, we have Mars retrograde in Cancer, and Mars is going to go direct. Did I say? I think it's beginning.
24th, I thought you said. Maybe you said the 14th. I can't remember.
Yeah, Mars goes direct on February 24th, and then Venus will go retrograde on March 1st. So
Oh,
we'll have a shift, right?
okay. That's Ollie's birthday, March 1st.
Is it? I
Yeah.
didn't know he was a Pisces. No wonder he's so sensitive. I
He's
must have
got
forgot
a
that.
lot of Pisces in his chart.
I
Hmm.
forgot that.
Yeah.
Now that
A
you're
lot of
saying,
Pisces and Aries is mostly what he is.
I could see that in
Hmm.
him.
Hmm.
He's a
He's
really
so cool.
good boy. So, um, the Leo moon opposes the sun conjunct Mercury in Aquarius, and both
Mhm.
are squaring Uranus in Taurus. So we have that. Uranus likes freedom. So where are you feeling constricted?
Hmm.
Where are you feeling restricted? You were talking about the electricity, and I was saying wherever you feel discomfort. Um,
Yeah.
I have that in my notes here. It could
Yep.
be, it could be somewhat for people who don't know how to process the energy, or just depending on the way it's hitting their chart.
Yeah.
It could be somewhat eruptive,
Yeah.
disruptive,
I,
and eruptive, or disruptive or eruptive. It could be one or both,
yes.
depending on the person. Uh,
Yeah.
what else? So we want to remember, it's a great awakener.
Mhm.
Um, so that's what I wanted to say with Uranus, because it's like the electrical system
Mhm.
of the body. We always talk about that lightning strike moment.
Yes.
Um, ground. You want to ground. And
Yes.
thank God it's, even though it's an uncomfortable energy, it's happening in an earth sign in Taurus, because that'll help ground. But well, I don't really have nice weather today because it's raining, but if you can still ground, you can ground in your house. You
Yeah.
get a grounding mat or take a
Yeah.
salt bath or something.
You can ground
Really try to
energetically too.
ground down into something, and don't, like,
Mhm.
little things might aggravate you that wouldn't normally aggravate you right now.
Mhm.
Especially with Mercury in the mix too. Mercury's always stirring up something. Whether
Yeah.
it's whether it's,
Little instigator. Yeah.
well, I'm
Because
gonna
it's
say
so curious.
I don't like to use negative and positive, and I don't like to use
Yeah.
good and bad. But
Yeah.
it could
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
one end of the spectrum of the other. It could be this side of
Yeah.
the rainbow or that side of the rainbow, whatever side of the
I feel
rainbow
like we'll say catalyst then, because I feel like mercurial energy is so curious
I
that it's like,
prefer.
what
It
does
is
Alice in
curious.
Wonderland say? Or it's the somebody in Alice in Wonderland says curiosity often leads to trouble. But I mean, does it, or is that just an adventure? It's all the perspective of the seer.
Well, when we talk about the curious child, we think about adventure, right? The
Yes,
curious
yes,
child is adventurous,
yes.
and
That's how
that's
you
one of the
learn.
descriptive words of Leo. Leo's very curious,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's curious, it's childlike, it's
Mm-hmm.
fun-loving, it's
Mm-hmm.
open-hearted,
Yes.
but it's don't F with me because I won't. It's no nonsense.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the child that likes to have fun, and that doesn't, like, when he's outside playing, he doesn't like to come in.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense to me. Well, then what's cool too is, Leo rules the heart. And then, talking about all the Uranian energy and the electricity, your heart is the basis. Your heart's your most intelligent organ. It's the basis for your bioenergetic field because of your Taurus field that begins at your heart. So it all goes together. It's really cool.
Well, and these, everything's in fixed signs. So,
Okay.
where are you releasing where you feel or have felt rigid in the past or
Yes.
restricted in the
Where are
past?
you giving yourself permission? I love that.
Exactly, and we're still, you know, deconstructing what no longer serves us,
Yes.
um, breaking through self-imposed, um, um, or, external social expectations of us.
Hmm.
Um, I'm going to say that it's kind of like what we were talking about earlier. It's like an invitation for radical self acceptance and awareness of the self,
I love that.
and embodying who you are just the way you are,
Yes.
and that it's okay to just be you. I
Yeah.
don't remember what it was, but it was something in the astrology like a few months ago, and I'm like, it was something with Aquarius, because I remember saying, all I want to say is I feel free to be me. Remember when I was
Yeah.
saying, and
Yeah.
very much so there could be this, I don't like to use the word revolt
Right.
or I don't want to say revolution. I want to say an evolution,
Mhm.
a revolution of evolution.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Okay.
That's so
So
needed,
we might be
Yeah.
battling within ourselves, but that
Right.
battle within ourselves is helping us to evolve and grow and expand.
Mhm.
So I kind of like that. I couldn't say that again if I wanted to because I don't have that written down. That just popped into my head.
Great.
I had
Yeah.
a friggin' Einstein moment. That's what I call my spiritual Einstein moment.
Yeah. There you go.
I couldn't say it again. I already forgot what I
Aquarian
said.
energy. Yeah.
I'll catch it on the replay. Um, and it's a lot of new energy coming in too. Like we
Hmm.
can't keep going back to the old. If you keep doing what you did, you can keep getting what you got, right? So
Yeah.
it's about taking the chance
Hmm.
to step outside of the box and try something in a new and different way. Um, like people could find themselves, and this has been in the energy. I know I've been talking about this like on the weekly Sunday things videos that I do on the page, but like maybe you started something a year or two ago, and for whatever reason, you just couldn't get the business off the ground. You just couldn't get it going, and
Hmm.
you really, really wanted it. You
Yeah.
wanted it so bad you could taste it, you could feel it, you could smell it, you could almost touch it.
Hmm.
This is a time now with the North Node, um, where you're very, very creative in Pisces, connecting with spirit. It's giving you that creative energy, but um we also have oh Jesus, what was it? It was in Aries. I can't remember. We have the ability to bring it to fruition. Okay. Like Pisces would be the thought, the creative thought, and Aries is the action.
Yeah.
So now, once Mars moves forward, it's going to change that energy and it's going to say, "Oh,
Time to go.
that's a great idea. Let's
Yeah.
hit the road, Jack,"
Yeah.
right?
You got the energy. You haven't had the energy until now. Now you have it.
Exactly. We've all been we are, I want to say, emotionally, physically, and spiritually exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I feel like whether people are cognizant of it or not, you're either doing the work or you're kind of doing the work, but you're blocking yourself too. So it's like no matter what people fall into, like everybody's feeling it. You know what I mean?
You know what I want to say? I just want to
Yeah.
take notes. I'm going to just throw them aside. And I just want to say this from my heart. I want to say
Mm-hmm.
that when you get to the point where you've just say, F it,
Mm-hmm.
and you go like this,
Yeah.
and you just let go,
Yeah.
let God, let the universe, let spirit, let creator, let whatever word you use, your higher
Right.
self or whatever,
Yeah.
just go with the natural flow.
Yeah.
The
Surf the wave,
universe is
baby.
feeding you that and nurturing you every single moment of every single day. And it's up
Mm-hmm.
to you whether what you choose to swallow and not swallow.
Yeah.
Uh, but
Mm-hmm.
you want to swallow that, it's up to you.
And
But
you're gonna get it
when,
metabolized into your whole system. Yep.
but when you start to vomit it back up, know
Yeah.
that you did it to yourself.
Yep.
Now I'm
Yep.
going to say that with love and kindness and without judgment,
I
because I used
understand
to
what
be
you
one
mean.
of those people.
Yeah. Yeah.
We all did. That's
Because
why
it's
that's why I don't judge those people
yeah,
because we
all the
all used to
distractions
be
that are
one of
out
those
there.
people, right?
Yeah.
We didn't know any better. I
Right.
just turn on the news for the no, I don't even turn it on for the weather. I use my phone, which
Yeah.
I hate because my app is always off. It lies. My weather app lies to
That's
me.
a whole nother podcast. No, I'm kidding.
No, I told
Our
you.
our weather manipulation is so
I
fun.
I listen to my body. Like my shoulder hurts, it's going
Yeah.
to rain.
Yeah.
If my
Yep.
shoulder hurts, it's going to
Yep.
rain. My shoulder
Energy
and my
doesn't
back
lie.
hurt. If it's
Yep.
my shoulder and my back,
Mhm.
it's going to snow. And
Oh.
my knee. So, like my
Aw.
knee is off and on ever since I've had that fall. It's not,
Yeah.
you're talking to somebody that got a concussion from their own crystal ball that fell off the shelf.
Yeah.
I
So
got hit on the head with my own crystal ball.
we could muse upon the meaning of that.
Well, I will definitely tell you this. It definitely opened up my third eye more.
See, there you go. It was just like I watched this video the other day about, conflict, and it was about it was really about like free will, but it was about a lady who helped a butterfly get out of its cocoon because it was struggling and then it never flied because the whole struggle was there for a reason. So conflict is here to help us grow. much like the crystal ball hitting you in the head is helping your third eye.
Well, if you carry a baby its whole life, if you never let the toddler fall, he never learns how to walk, right?
I know, yeah. Well, I feel like Oliver would have figured it out anyways, but yeah, I see what you mean.
Well, it's the same analogy as the
Yeah,
butterfly. The
no, I totally get
butterfly's
it.
wing builds its
Yeah.
strength in its wings, and
Hmm.
by ripping open the cocoon,
It
now
doesn't
the
let
wings
them
they're
poke
still
through.
wet and floppy, and they don't
Yeah.
the muscle. It's like building muscle. The muscle doesn't build.
Yeah.
We're not born walking. We learn to walk. We're not born talking. We learn to talk.
It's so
Everything we
cool.
do, we learn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, I will say that I do believe that, we come in with this kind of, whether you want to call it human or animal instinct or whatever.
Yeah.
Animals know. They know when to hibernate, they know when to sleep,
Yeah.
they know when to hunt, they know
Yeah.
when they eat when they're hungry.
Yeah.
They only kill for food.
Correct.
Listen
Yeah.
to your body.
Right.
Just listen. You don't have to believe in anything we're talking about. But
Correct.
if you can't listen to your own body, then
Because
you're
you're the
lying.
master of your
Then you're
body.
lying to yourself
Yes.
because nobody knows you better than you.
Hmm. Hmm.
Even though you may not see it,
Yeah.
even though you may not feel it right now.
Right.
There's a lot of illusion and disillusion in the air. And, there's some truths and there's some, you know, untruths. And they're all floating around together and they're all swirling around us. And we're kind of standing in the middle of it. And you can either stand there like this
Yep.
or you can stand there like this.
Hmm.
Which one do you want? Because this
That's
is chaos.
yes.
Chaos.
Yeah.
This is peace.
And discernment.
This is trust. This is
Yeah.
discernment.
Yeah.
This is I am,
Hmm.
and I connect to the God within me. I am my peace. I am my light. I am my own way. I am my truth. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. And I know that some people will say, that sounds so selfish. Look at her. She's so
Oh,
full of herself. She's so
I
selfish.
didn't even think that for a
No,
second. Just
no,
know
no.
yourself. Yeah.
I gave so much of myself, and you did too. We
Yeah.
gave so much of ourselves away that we didn't know who we were. And then when we started to spend time
Yourself.
do things for ourselves and we initiated self-care and then we were selfish. Well, guess what? I'm doing okay with being selfish. How about you?
Yeah. 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 Again, the judgments, the person who
Exactly.
judges, they are too busy looking at everybody else's life to really understand themselves. And I think that's another thing with like fear and the bamboozling, like the programming, because it's like, we get to choose what we pay attention to. And there's a reason why it's called paying attention, just like what you use with the analogy of this versus this. It's like if we're constantly seeing outside of ourselves things that we don't like or things that are making us angry, we have to realize that we're spending too much time focusing on those things instead of going within and saying, like, who am I? And am I spending enough time in my own energy? Because that's the other thing that a lot of people don't realize is you're picking up other people's energy and taking it on as your own without knowing because you haven't given yourself permission to claim your free will and your sovereignty and to live your life from the inside out. And until you do that and clear away all the debris, you will always feel a gap between where you are and where you want to be, is what I would say in my experience. So
Right. And for the people who tell you, well, you have to do this or you have to do that. No, you don't have to do anything.
don't.
The only thing you have to do is what keeps you happy and healthy and vibrant. And, I mean, okay, there's certain things we have to pay our taxes. Unfortunately, we have to be human sometimes.
Yeah, yeah.
Because we have to clean, we have to do laundry, we have to pay our taxes.
Oh,
Um, I do like the convenience of grocery delivery. I have now embodied that
that's nice.
fully and
Yeah,
wholeheartedly.
good. Good for you.
So, but it can be a very here's what I would like to say, and then I would like you to end and close out for us.
Okay.
What I would like to say is you really do get to choose. You may not
Yes.
feel like you do,
Mhm.
but to the audience, you really do get to choose.
Yeah.
And we're in a very creative energy, and our world is
Mhm.
in a very transformational process overall. And we could sit here and we could talk about the United States, or we could talk about Mexico or Canada or Europe or Russia, or we could, if we wanted to, we could find something good or bad about every country in the world.
Yes.
But we choose not to do that.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I want to say is if you let go,
Mhm.
you really truly trust in the process
Mhm.
and focus on this
Mhm.
right here
Mhm.
and taking care of, I want to say taking care of business, right?
Yeah.
Take care of your own business. Mind your
Yeah.
own business. Keep your car
Yes. Stay in your own
in
lane.
your own lane.
Yeah.
Exactly. Thank you. Don't run red lights. They run red lights here. Um, I hate it. I hate the way they drive here. But, you know, that you really, really may feel lost and you may think you don't know who you are. But
Mhm.
if you just tune into yourself and listen and give it time.
Yes.
I remember a time when I used to sit every day and go, who am I?
And
Who am I?
trust yourself.
Who am I supposed to be? What am I supposed to be doing?
Yeah.
You
What's
know,
my purpose? Yeah.
what's my purpose?
Yeah.
If you're here, you have a purpose.
Absolutely.
You're here for a purpose, and
Yeah.
your purpose will be made clear to you. And it might
Yeah.
not be until you're on your deathbed. And you
Yeah.
probably have lived your purpose your whole life and didn't even know it. So many
Yeah.
people are living their purpose right now and they don't know it.
Yeah.
And please stop judging other people for living their purpose because
Yeah.
someone that may not resonate with us, that we may not like them, we may not like what they're doing, but they're here for a purpose. And it's to teach us something that we need to learn.
Mhm.
Okay. So I'm going to hand it over to you. I want to, number one, thank you for your time because I know you're so busy. You're a busy mom. You're a busy business owner. You're a wonderful friend. You're a great adopted daughter. I love you immensely. Um, so I'm going to have you close out, and it's Brooke Adams, Rocket Science Wellness, and you can find her on YouTube. Please follow her on YouTube. Her meditations are beautiful. Follow her on Instagram and give us a closing message, something inspirational to take us, carry us through the rest of this rainy but lovely, beautiful, and
Yeah.
amazing day that we get to experience on this planet.
Yes, exactly. I feel like I would just say never, ever, ever underestimate. Okay, now actually, this is something I'd like to say. And I learned this after I attuned my first Reiki student. And I got this huge download. And it was like the universe is literally the fabric of the universe is unconditional love, and everything else is a distraction. So you get to choose. You get to choose what distracts you. Do I want my distraction to be, do I want to have children? Do I want my distraction to be watching the news? Do I want my distraction to be staring at birds outside? But basically, there is no there's no limit to the universe, and there's no limit to any of us. We are so limitless and we are so loved that when you're in alignment and you feel that love, you will never want to be out of alignment again. And the first step is loving yourself and trusting yourself and accepting yourself. And this is the thing. I tell my clients, you have to stand up for yourself, again, from a heart space. But the most important person to stand up for yourself to, Robin, is your own self. Because even when you make mistakes, I tell Oliver this on a regular basis. I don't care what you do. You could do the most horrible thing in the whole world, and I will always love you. And that is really how Creator feels about all of us. And we are so deeply loved. And once we tap into that alignment where we can feel that, like I said, you're never going to want to not feel it again. So you are, everybody out there, you are so worthy of being yourself, and you're so worthy of trusting and loving yourself from the inside out. And I'm always here to answer any questions and help anyone who really wants to learn. So thank you for having me on today, Robin. I love you very
Oh,
much.
you're welcome. So if somebody needs to contact you, should they
Yeah.
contact you through Instagram or through
Yeah.
Facebook or okay.
Any of them are fine. Instagram is where I'm on the most. I am pretty much transitioning over to YouTube, but yeah, Instagram message me. If I'm available and I have the capacity, I'm always here for everybody in my highest capacity. So yeah.
And I want to thank you,
Thank
Moonchild. That's what, I know there's somebody with that name on
Yeah.
Facebook. You
Yeah.
really are a child of the moon. You are a double moon. double Cancer, which is ruled by the moon.
I
So you
love feeling.
really are a moon goddess. And when you
Yeah,
were talking about that, like your whole face lit up.
yeah.
When I want you to go back and watch the replay and watch how your energy,
It's because it's just how it feels. It feels so good. And once you feel that good,
because
you
you're
don't ever
so
want to go back to not
genuine.
feeling.
You're
Yeah.
so, so genuine. And
Thank you.
you really, truly are like an earth angel. You're like Mother Nature.
Oh, thank
You're,
you.
you're Mother Nature. You walk around the planet nurturing everything and everyone.
I do. I do.
And you honor it. And you truly do honor life and every living thing. And you
I
just,
do.
you're beautiful. If this were the
Thanks,
60s,
Robin.
you'd be like one of those Woodstock children.
Yeah, I would. No shoes. I would love to not wear shoes, but yes, of
No,
course.
I can't wait till it gets warm so I can go barefoot.
Yeah,
All right, love. Have a
I love
beautiful,
you. Thank you,
blessed
Robin.
day.
You too.
Mwah. Thank you for your time.
Yeah,
Thank
of
you,
course.
everyone, for hanging with us. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Namaste.
Thank you.
I bow deeply. As soon as I could find the end button. Can't see. Mwah.
Bye.